नमस्कार, आर्यन होम्योपैथिक एकेडमी में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं डॉक्टर आर्यन। डॉक्टर सैमुअल हैनीमैन की लाइफ और उनके कार्य की श्रृंखला में आइए आगे बढ़ें। इन दिस वीडियो we shall talk about collaborators in proving of drugs by Hahnemann. These whom he selected and who appeared worthy to him, he invited into his family and so attached them to himself in a personal and friendly way. Even these students were persecuted and harassed by the professional colleagues and teachers and named them as ignorant fellows. Yet, Hahnemann soon created the now famous group of collaborators of the provings of drugs. Franz Hartmann, Gross, Hornberg, etc. formed the circle around Hahnemann. Provings were simultaneously carried out according to an exact system and from detailed instruction. Sometimes, those engaged in proving had to provide for themselves the medicinal substances, particularly the herbal ones. By this means, they learned to recognize herbs by habitat, period of bloom, etc. They learned to dry them methodically or to obtain a tincture from the fresh plant. The observations of the results which every individual had to make on himself at definite time were entered up in a carefully prescribed manner. After that, the comparative relationship of the medicinal effect observed by the individual prover were taken, and the power of a medicine was only established after comparison of different participants to a certain extent. Therefore, as means result was obtained. The birth of theory of medicinal disease thus was born by Hahnemann for the first time in the history of medicine. One of his students, Dr. Hartmann, writes, and I quote, that in all I learnt great deal. Under his guidance, I have proved many a remedy, together with Gross, Hornberg, Franz, etc., and clear sensation which I could again express very accurately. This is not so easy a lesson as it appears at first sight, and it has never been demonstrated to me so plainly even by the later and more modern provings of drug, as I learnt it at Hahnemann's hand. It proved to be of a very effectual use in my practical examination of patients. Had I learned nothing more than this from him, I should feel compelled to eternally grateful to him. Unquote. This inception of the collaborators for the purpose of proving drugs was of the greatest significance not only for the individual member but also for the whole materia medica and homeopathic science. All these young people were called upon of accurate observations of medicinal effects and consequently for a detailed examination of their state of health and of any daily fluctuations. From the very beginning, they were therefore trained to an accurate, conscientious and detailed observation of their patient and also to a definite remedial diagnosis. For the healing art, these provings meant an extraordinary increase in the knowledge of the effect of medicine and stimulation of the whole stereotype science of therapy. For centuries, for thousands of years, even doctors had always worked according to precedent. They swore by the old masters and ran in the old channels without thinking and testing for themselves. Hahnemann's procedure made a new precedent in the history of medicine. Hahnemann's time was by no means completely taken up with his lectures and writings. He had to show in professional practice that his theories were tenable and correct. In a short time, he had won great fame as a good physician, especially by his successful treatment of typhus, the remnants of Napoleon's defeated army drifting back from Russia and dragged with them from Asia Minor the typhoid scourge. These successful cures helped to bring Hahnemann's new system of therapeutics into vogue and to make it known all over. Here we have Dr. Hahnemann's reporting, and I quote, "Even at the time when I made Hahnemann's personal acquaintances, his fame was wide and he achieved cures, spread bordering of the incredible, which gave him and more reason for his fame. It was in particular those drugs maladies so frequently occurring at that time which he cured much more easily, because in his investigations of the physiological effect of these drugs he always made a point of knowing exactly the antidote for every drug." Unquote. In view of his greatly extended practice and his academic activities, his work as an author was naturally bound to suffer in the Leipzig period. But his most important production was the outcome of his laborious and keenly maintained work on provings of medicine. This was the Materia Medica Pura in 6 parts, appearing from the year 1811 to 1821. In later edition, Hahnemann put at the beginning of his second part, finished in 1860, an essay entitled, the title was "The Spirit of the New Doctrine of Healing," and allied to main thoughts in organon which he wrote earlier. इस अंक में इतना ही. अगले अंक में इस श्रृंखला को आगे बढ़ाएंगे. धन्यवाद.